Hey guys, welcome back to my original Xbox pickups. Hope you're all well today. And I've got a couple of new games to show you today. I've added some more to the collection, some fantastic titles. Hope you agree. Let's take a look at what I picked up. Right guys, so the first thing I've got to show you today is an accessory for the Xbox that I picked up recently. And that is the official Microsoft Xbox HD AV pack. Now these are not easy to come by these days, unfortunately. You can get them from the States quite easily on eBay, but in the UK you don't see them. I was amazed when these actually popped up. There were two on there at the time. Got this for a reasonable price, they're not cheap at all. But it's a fantastic thing to have if you're playing this on a modern TV, essential purchase. So you plug it in the back of your Xbox with that connection there, and then what this will do is allow you to connect your Xbox to the TV via component video. It also has composite audio as well, and most importantly of all, it has an optical Toslink connection there for digital surround sound, which is absolutely fantastic because I found out recently I have a third-party component cable that just plugs into the Xbox, which I bought from eBay a while ago, and I wasn't very impressed with the picture quality. Very fuzzy, very washed out, it wasn't very good at all. And I extended the composite audio from that cable and using two female-to-female connectors, put it in the back of my surround sound, and it wasn't coming out in surround sound. I settled the Xbox up correctly, but it was only coming out in stereo, and I thought, well, this is a bit weird. I was pretty certain you can get 5.1 out of composite audio on most systems. So I went online, and sure enough, everybody was saying, no, you can't do that, you have to use the AV pack, you need to use the optical connection. So I tried this out. Picture quality is fantastic anyway. I've had a couple of these a few years ago now when I first started picking up Xbox games, and the optical was fantastic. I plugged it into my amp, and yeah, sure enough, 5.1. The games sound absolutely phenomenal. This is an essential purchase if you're going to play your games on a modern TV, I think. I wouldn't even bother with the third-party cheap cables on eBay, the crap. This is the way to go. It's not cheap, I'll be honest. You know, it's cost me 30 quid, but it's worth every single penny. So that's the HD AV pack. As I say, if you want to import one from America, you could probably get them a little bit cheaper, but you know, with shipping and import tax and things, well, we all know how that goes. So that's that. So the first game to show you today is something that's an essential purchase when I buy an Xbox. One of my favourite games of that generation, definitely my favourite first-person shooter of that generation, and it is by Criterion. It's called Black. This is a fantastic first-person shooter. It's a cinematic experience where it's a military shooter basically in a cinematic universe. But the idea of this game is, as it says there, going all guns blazing. So it's a proper shooter, my kind of shooter, where it's not about really in-depth technical controls and, you know, trying to work out missions and puzzles and all that crap. It's just about getting in there and just blasting, and just shooting anyone that gets in your way, blowing up the scenery, everything splinters and the glass shatters, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. The guns are amazing. They've got a really good selection of weapons, from AK-47s to an array of pistols and a shotgun, some submachine guns. The loud, ridiculous loudness of the weapons, the sound effects are phenomenal in this game, and it's got a really cool cinematic score as well. So every now and again when you're playing the game, the music will just kick in like a film, and it's absolutely awesome. And the story's pretty decent as well. The characters are well written. It's, you know, got little FMV sequences for each level just to explain what's happening, and it's basically you're being interrogated and you explain what's happened, and then you play that scene in the level. It's fantastic, absolutely brilliant shooter. Highly recommend playing this, guys. And it's a real shame it's never got a sequel. Now, for years it was said that Body Count that came out on the PS3 and 360 was going to be the sequel to Black. And I believe it was Stuart Black, I remember rightly, who worked at Criterion at the time, who worked on this game originally. He left the company when Criterion had disagreements with EA. Not too sure what the disagreement was, but there's a lot of hoo-ha going on. And Stuart Black left, and at the time I remember seeing interviews and reading interviews where they said that Stuart Black was upset with the team he was working with. They wanted to take the game in a different direction. He wanted to keep it in the vein of Black, and they wanted to take it in a different direction. I think they wanted to aim for more like the Call of Duty, the more modern sort of first-person shooter. He wasn't happy with that and left the team. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I read at the time. Anyway, Body Count came out, I played it. It was okay, it was reminiscent of Black, but it's never going to be as good as this title. It was just an average shooter. But I've recently read this week that about a year ago, there was an article I found online from a year ago where it turns out that the people at Criterion have actually come out now, some of the people that work there, and have said they were actually working on an actual sequel to Black. And a couple of screenshots were tweeted out which look absolutely fantastic. And some of the artwork has come out as well. Which they are at odds with each other. I found that the artwork was very colourful and bright and looked like an Insomniac game more than anything to me, which was a bit odd. If you've ever played this game, it doesn't make a lot of sense that they would go that direction. But the screenshots from the game are actually reminiscent of Black, and they were very dark and moody, and it looked like they were going on the right track. But unfortunately, I believe Criterion no longer exists, and so they had fallen out of EA, so the game got shelved. So I just can only hope that at one time in the future, I don't know who owns the rights to Black anymore, but you know, if you're watching this and you know someone who works for the company that owns the rights, please make this happen, because I would love to see this game resurrected. It's an absolutely phenomenal shooter. I've played it back to back many a time now, and I'll never get sick of playing it. I'd say it's actually a bit of a sleeper in a way, because not a lot of people really talk about this one. But you know, the people that do talk about it, like me, they're very evangelical. They absolutely adore it. It's a phenomenal shooter. So next up is the game I played this week. Just completed it last night, and it is 007 Agent Under Fire. This is the one Bond game of this generation I was never a fan of. I could never get into this game at all. I found it really difficult with the controls, and it just didn't click for me at all. So I was determined to have a go at it this week and try and play this game. And as I say, I managed to complete it, and it's actually not that bad. It's quite a fun title. Some really good levels, decent story, beautiful looking game. Graphically, it looks really nice. Guns are great. The only downside to me personally is the control scheme, because the only control scheme I could find that worked was control scheme number 2, which would allow me to use the left hand stick to strafe, because all the other control schemes you have to use the right hand stick, and it's just so weird trying to play like that. It's really old school. But yeah, that was a bit of a downside. But the only problem is when you use control scheme 2, it allows you to use the left hand stick to go left, right, up and forward and backwards, and the right stick to move the camera. But it also maps the buttons weird, so you've got X for ducking down and Y for jumping instead of A and B, which is, it took a bit of getting used to, just put it that way. And the only other issue I had with the game was the jump is extremely floaty. It's like playing Quake 3. It's horrific, and there's one bit where you have to, it's like a big anvil in like a furnace kind of, in a foundry kind of area, and you have to jump on it, so you have to lift you up into another area. And it was old school Quake style, where you're jumping up in the air and you're floating all over the place, and you've got to look down at the floor to see where you're going to land. Oh, it was horrendous. But that was it really. Other than that, it was great. I will say the cars sections were really well done. The cars handled exceptionally well. Way better than I thought they were. They actually would do. They got a lot of weight to them, they control really nicely. But overall, it was actually a pretty competent shooter and a nice little Bond game. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this one. Much better than I expected. Unlike this next game I just tried to play last night, and this I really liked when it first came out, and I don't know why, because I just can't get on with this game at all. The controls are terrible. And it is 007 Everything or Nothing. I cannot get on with this game. I was trying to play it last night and I was getting so frustrated with it. It's a nice looking game, but oh god, it's frustrating. It's got a lock-on system where you hold the trigger. It's third-person cover. You hold the trigger, left trigger down, it locks onto the enemy, and you shoot with the right trigger. But I just kept finding it kept switching between the enemies too much for no reason at all, and the camera's spinning me around, and I was getting really pissed off trying to play this game. Yeah, I might try and stick with it, I don't know, it's a frustrating game. I know I liked it when it first came out, but yeah, it's a bit annoying. The only downside of this game, I think, is a 4x3 display game as well, because you get black bars left and right, which is a bit frustrating. I have heard when you soft mod your Xbox, because I can't, it's been a while since I had a soft mod on Xbox, but apparently it will force it out and make it to full screen, which is nice. Unlike 007 Agent Under Fire, which is brilliant, because you put it over a component and it comes through at 480i, which isn't as good as Progressive, I know, but it looks really good and it's full screen. But yeah, Everything or Nothing is not a game that I want to play again. I will try, but I just, oh, frustrating. Next one up, great game. I played this last time I had my Xbox collection. I got quite a way through this game. I really enjoyed it, so I want to go back and try and finish this one. And it is 007 From Russia With Love. Great cover, by the way. I love that cover of Connery. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, this is a really nice looking game. I'm looking forward to trying this one again. I'll probably put this on this week actually. This is another third person game. And I like the fact that they went backwards and decided to do an old school Bond. But it's a really cool little title. I had a lot of fun with this last time. I believe I got a gameplay on my channel somewhere. So if I have, you'll see a link appearing in the corner of the screen. So there you go, that's Russia from Russia with Love. Right, next up we have a fighting game. We've got 2 fighting games in the collection. This is fantastic. This is Dead or Alive Ultimate. So this is Dead or Alive and Dead or Alive 2 remastered for the Xbox. And I've owned this before, and I've got to say that when I played it last time, Dead or Alive looked okay, but Dead or Alive 2 looked phenomenal. They did such a nice job of rendering it on the Xbox. Because I've only ever played it on PS2 before I played this version. And I loved it on PS2. Oh, in fact, to tell a lie, I played it on Dreamcast as well, which was decent. But the Xbox version of Dead or Alive 2 just blows the PS2 and DC out of the water. It's absolutely the nuts. So if you love Dead or Alive 2 like I do, then just an absolute must-have purchase. Fantastic. And then following on from that, we've got one more fighting game, and that is Soul Calibur 2, which I haven't actually got around to playing yet. I will do. I've got a few games to be getting on with at the moment. But yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this one out. It's supposed to be quite decent. I love Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast anyway. It's one of my favourite fighting games, that is. So I'm excited to see how this plays. I remember rightly, doesn't this have, not on the Xbox, but on the PlayStation and the GameCube versions, it has specific characters. I'm sure you got like Link on the GC version, if I remember rightly. But yeah, from what I understand, it's a really good game, and it's supposed to be really nice for a component as well. Next up, we have a fantastic first-person shoot, which I've got about 90% through last time. I need to get back on it and finish this off. I really enjoyed this last time round, and it is Area 51. I mean, this is perfect for me because I'm really into my aliens in Area 51 and that whole shebang. Good cover as well. And I really enjoyed this last time I played it. Really decent first-person shooter, nice graphics, a lot of fun to play. So yes, I'm going to do my best to try and complete this time. And conspiracy is no longer a theory. Wow, yeah. So there you go, Area 51. Right, so this game is a first-person shooter which I've never managed to get into. I've tried to play this several times, and this is the reason I brought it back. Because like in the last video I said about The Thing, it's one of them games that I just really want to get into. And it's called Project Snowblind. Really great cover. Yeah, as I say, I've tried to play this before, and it just, I don't know, I just found it really difficult to get into. It's a really pretty game as well. It looks really nice. There's some nice blossom in this game. But yeah, I will give it a try. I'll do my best. I mean, it's got the Xbox Gamers Star game, so it can't be too bad. Okay, so I've got another addition to the Medal of Honor series, and that is Medal of Honor Rising Sun. Not the best one of the three, I'll be honest. My favourite is still European Assault. I thought that was the best one of that generation. But yeah, good cover anyway. This one, yeah, like Medal of Honor Frontline, it starts off great with a really cool intro, and then it just gets boring, and I just couldn't be arsed playing it. This was better for multiplayer, I found. Local multiplayer on this game is brilliant. I've said before, I have great memories of this game. The one-shot pistol in particular. One night, me and my friends, we were just sitting around getting drunk, playing this one-shot pistol. It's just fantastic, hours and hours of fun. But as for the campaign, as I say, it starts off with a really bombastic intro and it's great fun, but then it just gets really boring and dull, which is a real shame. So next up is a game that was talked about in my recent Ask SNES episode, and I said I was going to be picking them up. So I've got the first one, and it is Time Splitters 2. Really, really fun title, this one. I mean, I think most people know what Time Splitters is all about. Fantastic, colourful, fast-paced first-person shooter. Really cool game. The first game is more of a multiplayer experience on PS2, whereas this one's got a really decent campaign and really enjoyable. I'm surprised Time Splitters has never come back. I mean, we had Future Perfect after this one, and I don't think there's been anything else since then, has there? So yeah, it'd be nice to see him resurrect this, because it's a good series of games. So I picked up this next one because I played this before and I really enjoyed it, and I'm not a big fan of this particular series, but this one's a really decent game. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Decent cover. As I'm not a big Need for Speed guy, more of a Ridge Racer guy than anything, but this one it's quite a decent little title, and it looks really pretty on the Xbox as well, as do most games, because the Xbox is an absolute beast. But yeah, great game. Next up, I've got my favourite Prince of Persia game from that generation. I think for most people it's probably the best one, Sands of Time. Not a big fan of Warrior Within or the other one which I can never remember the bloody name of. But yeah, The other two I just couldn't get on with, but Sands of Time's really good. It doesn't play as well as it used to. I mean, it has aged quite a bit, but it's still a really nice looking game. Still a lot of fun to play. I mean, for me personally, since the original on the PC back in the day, and it was on multiple formats, Super Nintendo was my favourite version back then, but I would say since that original game, the best Prince of Persia that I played was Forgotten Sands on the PS3, and it's on 360 as well. That is a phenomenal game. I've really enjoyed that one, but this is a good title. So next up, third person action game, Shadow Dancer-esque, I suppose, and that is Dead to Rights. I really like these games. They're cheesy and a bit crappy, but I always had a lot of fun with these when they came out. I need to get number 2 as well. But yeah, they're not the best games in the world, but I always really enjoyed them. I thought they were really fun. It's just run and gun third person action. As I say, Shadow Dancer-esque in the fact that you have a wolf dog that you can use to attack your enemies. But I thought it was alright, it was pretty cool. The one I've never played is I think it's Retribution, isn't it? Dead to Rights Retribution, which came out on PS3 and 360. So I do need to correct that and play that game. I know it's supposed to be pretty terrible, but I really want to try it just for myself. But decent cover as well. Some of these cases aren't in the best of condition. I will be replacing them. I'm going to be buying a whole brand new box of new cases so I can make them all look minty fresh. So these last two are fantastic titles. This is one of my, if not possibly my favourite game of the 128-bit generation. I absolutely adore this game. I'm gutted it never got a sequel. It really deserved one. And it is Freedom Fighters, from the makers of Hitman 2, as it says there. If you've never played this game, you really need to. It's phenomenal. It's a third-person, squad-based game where America's taken over by the Russians. Nothing new there, I know. And you start out, you're a construction worker, and you have to join the resistance and build up your credibility and take down the Russians. It's fantastic. And the more credibility you get, the more people you can have join you to join your squad. It's a little clunky these days, I'll be honest. It doesn't control all that great anymore. But I remember playing this when it first came out, and I was just obsessed with this game. Me and my friend were playing it at work at the same time. I used to come into work every day and talk about this game and how far we got into it, and it was absolutely brilliant. This is without doubt an absolute gem of that generation. But if you've got PS2 or an Xbox, this is one to definitely play if you haven't. It's fantastic. And the last game today, guys, is a pretty much essential purchase. A really fantastic game, which I'm absolutely terrible at, but I have a lot of fun playing it. And it is Metal Slug 4. So you can get Metal Slug 3 and Metal Slug 4 on the Xbox in the PAL region and NTSC region as well in America. But you can also get Metal Slug 5, which is out in Japan, which I had in my previous collection, so I will probably pick that up at some point. Love the cover. The cover art's fantastic. I found this the other day, and this game is hard as hell. I'm not very good at Metal Slug at all. I just tend to die loads. But I always have a lot of fun playing it. It's a really enjoyable action arcade game, and you know, I think most people know what Metal Slug's all about. I mean, if you don't, it's just a side-scrolling, just blow the shit out of anything that moves, and just pure arcade adrenaline fun. It's a really enjoyable title. So there you go, it's Metal Slug 4. There you go, guys. Those are the latest additions to my collection. Some fantastic titles there. Collection's growing quite nicely and the shelves are filling up. There will be more games to come for the Xbox. I am going to be still continuing to build that collection back to hopefully the status it was last time, minus a few titles that I didn't enjoy. But let me know down below your memories of Xbox, the games that I've shown today, what you think of those games. Thank you very much for watching as always. Please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.